The year 2020 was quite a mess, but one good thing that the year gave us was possibly one of the most awaited motorcycle rivalry of the decade. Now, the 350cc retro classic segment is a volume churning one, and it has been well dominated by Royal Enfield for years, in fact, decades now. Now, Honda has made a bold new approach in this segment with the launch of the H'ness CB350. Now, looks like Royal Enfield finally has a worthy competition to give it sleepless nights.
Well, like you just said, the 350cc classic roadster segment has been dominated by Royal Enfield for years and years now, with the likes of Classic 350 and the Thunderbird 350 as well. Now we've got the successor to the Thunderbird, and it is much better with a new engine and a brand new personality. Now, going back to the Honda CB350, I've got to bring up the name. The full name here is Honda H'ness CB350, and H'ness with an apostrophe. What was Honda thinking? That is an SEO nightmare.
Well, why are you being someone who judges a book by its cover? And well, at the end of the day, what's in a name, right? So let's focus on other bits, shall we? But before we get onto the saddle, please hit the like button if you like this video, and also subscribe to our Express Rides YouTube channel and click that little bell to stay notified. Now, talking about how both these motorcycles look, well, I quite like the styling and design of the Honda H'ness CB350, and that is all thanks to the fact that it looks more of a roadster rather than a true blue retro classic. And as you can see, you get a lot of chrome on this motorcycle. You can see the chrome is there on the front and rear fenders, it's there on the rear view mirrors. Apart from that, you can find it on the exhaust as well. And since we Indians love a lot of chrome in our vehicles, so that's the reason I think a lot of you are going to like the design of this motorcycle. Now, talking of the Meteor, what do you have to say about it?
Well, but then a lot of you could also not like chrome, and that is what the Meteor offers. The engine, the fenders, they're all blackened out, and I think I like that appeal a little bit better than what chrome offers. Well, there is chrome at some strategic places at the rear view mirrors and up front as well. Overall, I think the Meteor looks larger than the CB350.
Well, you only think it looks larger, but
yeah, I know the numbers.
But in fact, on paper, the CB350 is actually taller and longer than the Royal Enfield Meteor 350. And when I say that, moreover, the CB350 has a higher seat height compared to the Royal Enfield Meteor 350. The seat height, to be precise, is 800 millimeters. But you don't need to worry, as for my height for reference is 5 feet 8 inches, and I am not tiptoeing, but at the same time, both the feet are not exactly very flat on the ground. But still, this bike feels very manageable, and despite having a seat height of 800 millimeters, no complaint at all. Even riders of 5.5 or 5.6 will also be able to ride it quite comfortably.
Well, in that sense, the Meteor could be a little bit more accessible to more people, but then the CB is not exactly a very tall motorcycle, so that's fine right there. But in terms of design and styling, I do think that the Meteor looks more imposing and has a stronger appeal, a stronger road presence compared to the CB.
But my point for the design goes to the Honda H'ness CB350 because I like things quite different and unique.
Yes, Your Highness.
Now, talking of features, the Honda H'ness CB350 first gets an all LED lighting, which your Royal Enfield Meteor 350 clearly misses out on. I mean, come on, in today's time, even a Honda Activa 60 has an all LED lighting, so I don't see any point. Anyways, moving on, this one also has LED turn indicators, and the front blinkers, by the way, stay on all the time to give a very nice visual effect in the night. It also gets Honda HSTC, which in simple words, the traction control system. Apart from that, what the H'ness 350 gets is Honda's Bluetooth voice control technology, and all you have to do is just install a Honda Singh mobile application on your phone, put a Bluetooth headphone with your helmet, and you can hear all the navigation related instructions along with call and message alerts in your headphone.
You know, there's a reason why I was silently listening to you boasting about the features. Sure, the Meteor does not get LED lighting, but then I think I'm ready to live with that, because one thing that it has is so competent and works so very well is the tripper. The navigation on this motorcycle is just sublime. It is so easy to connect, and the directions are visible, very clearly visible, because it gets a completely separate screen to show you the directions. We've tested the tripper and it works very, very accurately. Moreover, it gets a windscreen, which I think I'm quite a fan of. I like sitting behind a windscreen and be protected by the wind, which you don't really get on the CB.
We are sure most of you must be quite eager to hear how both these motorcycles sound. So starting with the exhaust note of both these bikes, first the Royal Enfield Meteor 350.
How does this do?
And now the Honda H'ness CB350. So finally, one motorcycle that has clearly a better rumble than the Meteor 350. Hands down, this one has a better exhaust note.
Yeah. This one, I think I'm gonna have to agree there. The CB definitely has a much better soundtrack.
Absolutely. And now talking about the engine specifications, the H'ness CB350 is powered by a 348cc single-cylinder 8-volt engine, and this one produces more power and torque figures than the Royal Enfield Meteor 350. In order to be precise, the figures are 21 horsepower and 30 Newton meters.
Well, yeah, on paper, the CB does have slightly larger numbers in terms of power and torque, which is 20 HP and 27 Newton meters of torque on the Meteor. But in terms of how the engine performance is, how it responds on the throttle, I think they're pretty much at par here. Moreover, this is a new engine. For the Meteor 350, Royal Enfield have developed a brand new 349cc single-cylinder engine, which is much, much more refined than what the previous one was.
Moreover, both these motorcycles get a 5-speed transmission, but what the CB H'ness 350 has and the Meteor doesn't is a slip and assist clutch.
Right, so in terms of that, since it does not have a slip and assist clutch, the pull on the clutch lever is pretty hard on this motorcycle, and you will feel it in bumper to bumper traffic.
Since vibrations is one thing for which many people are very concerned in this particular segment, we decided to do the Teacup challenge on both these motorcycles. But well, the design of the fuel tank of the Royal Enfield Meteor 350 didn't allow us to place the cup on its fuel tank. So while the Meteor 350 clearly offers a higher level of refinement than the Thunderbird that it replaces, the Honda CB H'ness 350 here offers a bit more finesse.
Now let's move this along to what's it really like to ride these motorcycles. Now the Meteor 350 is essentially a cruiser style motorcycle, much like the Thunderbird 350 was, with forward set foot pegs and cruiser style handlebars as well. One little niggle I do have with the foot pegs though is the positioning of them. I wish that if they have to be forward set, I wish if they had a slight bit of pivot towards the rider, or if they were slightly towards me. Very, very slightly, I would have had a little bit more control. About the engine, I reckon it's 80 to 90 kmph, which is pretty much the sweet spot for this motorcycle, where you can sit for hours and the engine does not feel like it's under any kind of stress at all. It's only when you go past 100 kmph, vibrations do tend to become a problem. But even so, this engine is far, far better refined than the Thunderbird engine was. A little bit less than the CB though. So the Meteor 350 will do a top speed in excess of 110-115 kilometers an hour. The torque curve, I would say, is pretty much flat for this motorcycle because it feels torquey as much as it does in higher gears, it does in lower gears as well.
Now, on the other hand, talking of the Honda H'ness CB350, well, the handlebar on this one is shorter compared to the one on the Royal Enfield Meteor 350, and the footpegs positioning is also quite neutral, which means they are not as forward set as the Meteor 350. So, the bike essentially doesn't give you that typical cruiser riding position, but still it is very relaxed and easy and comfortable in its own way. Now, talking about the engine, this is possibly the highlight of this motorcycle. The 348cc engine on this bike is supremely refined, and with 30 Nm of torque, it is very torquey as well. The bike offers an excellent pickup and brisk acceleration, which should facilitate overtakes in the city. And out when you are on the highways, it is happy doing speeds of 90 to 100 kilometers an hour all day long. Well, the engine is so supremely refined that even at speeds of 120 kilometers an hour, you don't feel any significant vibrations. Talking of the top speed, well, this one maxes out at about 135 kilometers an hour compared to the Meteor, which steams out at 120. The better top speed of the Honda H'ness CB350 can also be attributed to the fact that the CB350 is a whole 10 kgs lighter than the Meteor 350. But then, flat out speed is not really a defining factor in this segment. So what I really liked about this engine is the fact that it feels very much tractable in the city, and it is equally at home on the highways as well. So either you are doing city runs or you are doing long distance touring on weekends, this engine will serve the purpose better in all ways.
In terms of ride quality, neither of the two have a very plush suspension setup, although the Meteor 350 offers a slightly softer cushion compared to the CB. Add to this, the fact that the Meteor 350 has a more comfortable seat and riding position makes it a better fit if you must spend more time on the saddle. On the other hand, the H'ness CB350 is a sharper handler, and it is indeed the best handling bike in its segment. Moreover, in terms of braking, the H'ness CB350 offers a sharper bite and feedback at the lever compared to the Meteor 350. At the end of the day, the Meteor 350 is more affordable than the CB350. It broadly comes in three variants, the most affordable one of which is Rs 10,000, cheaper than the CB350. Now, even if you go for a lower variant, you may not get a metal badge or a pillion backrest or a windshield up front, but you will get a navigation tripper. All of the variants come with the tripper, which is the important bit. On the other hand, talking of the Honda H'ness CB350, well, it is expensive than the Royal Enfield Meteor 350 by Rs 10,000, but I don't think this amount is such a substantial amount that will affect the buying decision of the customer. So the CB350 comes in two variants, namely Deluxe and Deluxe Pro. And while the Deluxe variant is priced at 1,85,000, for the Deluxe Pro variant, you will have to shell out Rs 5,000 more. What all you get in the Deluxe Pro variant is dual horns, this dual tone paint scheme, and Honda's Bluetooth voice control technology. So the H'ness CB350 is currently available only through Honda's Big Wing retail channel across India. And when this bike was launched, it was available only through 5 showrooms. But now Honda is gradually expanding the number of Big Wing dealerships across India, which means the H'ness should be available to many more dealerships. Now that's the thing, Royal Enfield's dealership network is really strong with over 800 touch points across the country. Even if you go to Ladakh, you will find a dealership over there as well. So that makes the Meteor 350 more accessible in more cities across the country. But well, even if you have a strong service network, what's the point when you have to wait to take the delivery of your motorcycle for well over 2 months? Yes, in most of the cities, the waiting period for the Royal Enfield Meteor 350 is extending to 3 to 4 months, in fact 5 months actually. Okay, so here is the thing about the Honda H'ness CB350. You can get the delivery of the motorcycle on the same day when you book it, or at max the very next day, depending on what color option you choose. Well, you know, as they say, good things come to those who wait. So to sum it all up, it is a very stiff competition. I'd say I wouldn't pick one of these motorcycles because they're both very promising products, especially because Royal Enfield have improved so much upon their cruiser segment motorcycle with this, the Meteor 350. So if you must pick a Royal Enfield motorcycle, the Meteor 350 could be your best bet in the 350cc segment, especially because it offers a lot of comfort, which is improved even further because of that navigation tripper, which works really well. On the other hand,
Well, the Honda H'ness CB350 offers a richer ride quality along with a better engine performance and refinement compared to the Royal Enfield Meteor 350. So if you want something very, very fresh in the 350cc retro classic segment, and if you want to stand out from the large sea of classic and bullet owners, and at the same time still want a classic but something that's not Royal Enfield, well, the H'ness CB350 is clearly the bike to go for. Until next time, thank you so much for watching.
I think let's just end it on Yes, Your Highness. हो गया ना design. Done.
So it's taller and longer, and it has a higher seat height than the Royal Enfield Meteor.
Tolerant. Shit. Nothing.
You did something.
Nothing. Oh my god.